Heyo, Omni Dogs and Omni Kittens. It's Omni Dog here with an overview of Nova, Richard Rider, the unfortunately named Richard Rider. But this is solid Bronze Age, bronzy bronze goodness. Here's a look at the spine, and the back gives you an idea that he does have a lot of crossovers, which we'll be getting into. Not a lot, but there are a few important ones that we will get into. And let's check what it looks like under the dust jacket. And it looks great. And as always, you can go to organicpricedbooks.com and use $2 off. You can go there and get this particular book, as a matter of fact. $2 off with code OMNIDOG. And big savings, 5% off. Shipping 3 or more books. Coupon OMNIDOG, ship it together. Right on. Okay, so here we see what it looks like without the dust jacket, and I have a bunch of bookmarks up there, so let's check the binding here. Solid. Nicely done. And I know people have been concerned about page thickness, which is fair. These don't feel paper thin to me. Now, if you hold it up to the light, you definitely can see through to the next page, but these don't feel super paper thin to me. These feel okay. They're glossy. So I don't feel like you need to worry too much about page thickness. It seems fine. And we have a really good table of contents here. And it's smack dab in the middle of the Bronze Era, 1976, all the way down to 1986. And here we have the introduction of Nova, crossover with Fantastic Four in the annual, Defenders, Marvel 2-in-1, Nova, 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 Nova. And then it finishes off with Fantastic Four and a couple other issues. And you'll see why it's important for him to finish off with Fantastic Four. So we go from his beginning, Marv Wolfman, John Buscema. And this is a pretty typical of the time Marvel book. Teenager gets picked on by bullies and gets an unbelievable power and becomes, at first, like a street level, not defender, street level vigilante type superhero. And as the book progresses, you will see him explore outer space and his cosmic origins. One thing this book does do is it introduces some new villains. Here is one of the first ones, Diamond Head. He makes appearances throughout the book. Marv Wolfman's still the writer. Sal Buscema now helping with the art. Diamond Head makes an appearance throughout the book. While these may not be super memorable villains, it helps to keep track because they have a thread that runs throughout the whole book, which eventually culminates with an even bigger baddie, which it won't be spoiling anything to tell you about. Here he is with Thor. Thor not looking happy there. And here is a little bit of breaking the third wall. Nova showing up in Marvel offices, and they are all poking fun at each other. We get a lesson on how to say Buscema, which is helpful. So I don't mind when things like this happen, when you get somebody going into Marvel offices. I think it's kind of funny And I don't mind that they break the fourth wall like this. It doesn't take me out of the story at all. It's it's the Bronze Age. Whatever works works. Cobra and Mr. Hyde. Oh, there's Daredevil. The Sphinx. Now this is the character who's going to give him the most problems, and he acquires more power throughout the book. Here's a list of guys that are going after Nova, Condor, Diamond Head, Powerhouse, and the Sphinx. Here's Mega Man. This was actually kind of a touching, I felt this was a touching issue, this Mega Man issue. Don't want to spoil it and say why, but I felt it was touching and had a touching ending. And it's a two-parter, more Mega Man. I don't want to give away the ending, so let's just skip to, as you can see, these villains continue to torment Nova throughout. The Sphinx in particular. Here he has crossover with Spider-Man. So one thing is these colors are really nice. And Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito, I knew them previously from Flash, from DC. This doesn't, I mean, I know it's Andrew and Esposito, but I feel like they've changed their style a little bit for Marvel. But maybe they just progressed. Whatever. It fits Marvel's style, certainly. And then let's go. Let's see. I have this. Oh yeah, this next one actually took me by surprise. I thought I knew a little bit about this particular individual, but this is when Carmine Infantino starts to draw. Well, maybe he does stuff before. I'll say he starts to draw Nova. I guess when he got if he got fired from DC, this is 76. He oversaw New Gods, Jack Kirby's comic, and was the one who enforced the rule that Superman had to look the same throughout all the comics, etc. But I did not know that he returned to drawing comics, and I recognized his style right away in here. So this may be only a thing that I care about, but it's pretty cool to see Infantino art. Maybe it's not his peak like it was in Flash and Adam Strange, some Batman. It's still pretty good. I really dig Infantino's art. He has a team of inkers that work with him. Here we have Carmine Infantino and Tom Palmer, and yikes, the Yellow Claw. This is firmly in the Bronze Age. I highly doubt we'd get a villain called the Yellow Claw these days. But death is the Yellow Claw. So I'm going to show a lot of Infantino art because I am a huge fan. Oh boy. This is Infantino inked by the Tribe. And you can still pick up that it's a lot of Infantino art. He's usually known for his dynamic action, which, yeah, you can see here. Infantino and the Tribe. Yeah, these are definitely Infantino faces. So I dug this part. And these are all nicely. This is actually a perfect book as far as, nice table of contents, and then you've got page numbers, and you've got covers that separate the stories, which seems like a small thing, but it's really pretty important. Let's see, what's this other bookmark? Oh, this was, okay, so I think he has an annual here with Fantastic Four and the Inhumans. Maybe just the Fantastic Four. Because the Inhumans were in an issue. Okay, it is just the Fantastic Four. But here we have when he tries out and becomes a member of the Defenders. This is also Bronze Age because even though Hellcat is the leader, there is a ton of flirting done with her. And she flirts back. Not necessarily the highlights of a leader, but it works in this comic. The Defenders are mostly concerned about how they look on television. And these are the Defenders with Patsy in charge, Hellcat. And the next thing I have bookmarked is more Carmine Infantino art. Okay, yeah, I am being selfish and looking at all the Infantino art, which is really cool. So if you are a Bronze Age fan, and if you're a fan of Nova, this is a big deal then, that Nova's getting collected. More Infantino. This looks strangely like the Flash. But Infantino does a solid job, a solid amount of the inks, the pencils here. So we will go to the very end. The book transfers over to the Fantastic Four because Sphinx has, there's some scroll action, and Nova appears in these Fantastic Four episodes. It goes up, Herbie is introduced here, and John Byrne. And the story ends in the Fantastic Four because this is where it all comes to a head, so to speak. Well, they look for Galactus with... Oh, and here's Terrax. Terrax the Tamer as Herald of Galactus. This is where he's introduced. So there's actually a lot of cool debuts in this. But Nova ends up battling the Sphinx, who has managed to gather an impressive amount of power. And that's the crossover, how he crosses over into the Fantastic Four. And as far as, and then there's this thing and more Sphinx. Let's see. Any extras? There are these extras. Not a whole lot of extras, but extras still. Marvel Universe handbook entries and art breakdowns. And there we go. So there you have it. Nova, Richard Rider, from Marvel. And I have it highlighted. If you want to get it from Organic Price Books, I have a link in the description. Use your code OmniDog. You can order it from Organic Price Books. And enjoy your bronzy aged bronzed goodness of Nova. And thank you for watching. Peace and love, peace and love. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, OmniDog's Vault. And I appreciate everybody watching. Peace and love, peace and love.